Om Sahanavavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamalaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad-padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya-kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti-bheda vibhagine Vyomavad-vyapta-dehaya Dakshinamurtaye namaha. Gukarastvandakaro vai Rukarastvannivartakaha Andakara-nirodhitvat Guru-ritya vidiyate. Sadashiva-samarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam. Om Namo Bhagavate
Om Namo Bhagavate
Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahma Vidyacharya Nachiketase cha. Passage number 8 on page 6. Nayamatma pravachanena labhyah na medhaya na bahuna shrutena jame vaisha vrunute tena labhyah tasyesha atma vivrunute tanum swam. So this passage is meant to prescribe the means of knowing the self. It is true that Atma is very difficult to know. One reason is that our mind is oriented towards objectifying whatever it is that we want to know. So far, all our knowledge of things has been in the realm of the duality, where I am the knower and what I want to know is the object of knowledge. There has always been a duality or separatedness between the object and the subject. The knower is the subject, the known is the object. So this is my orientation. Therefore, when it comes to knowing the self, my tendency is again to objectify the self, trying to see the self, experience the self, feel the self, And so, this is why the knowledge of self becomes very difficult. Because here, this is the knowledge of the knower. Which means that, in this knowledge, the knower also does not remain as a knower. Even the role of the knower also has to let go. Then only there is a oneness of the knower and the known. Since this is the knowledge of the knower, as long as I remain a knower, so long what I am trying to know is separate from me. The knower is always separate from the known. If there is a flower or a pot or something or the other, some object, this is the object of knowledge and I am the subject. So I am the subject, the knower is different from the object of knowledge. So this is the usual orientation of our knowledge, and this is how we have known things. All objects of the world, all objective knowledge is of this nature. However, now what we want to know is our own self, Atma. Atma means I, meaning the content of I, my own self. In which case now, I am the knower also. At the same time, what I want to know is my own self. So knower also is I, and known also is I. So as long as I retain the role of knower, so long what I want to know remains different from me, and therefore, even if I think that I have known the Atma, if I have known the Atma, the self as an entity separate from me, it cannot be the true knowledge. In that sense, this knowledge is very difficult. Anuresha Dharma said that this truth is extremely subtle, cannot be objectified. But fortunately, it does not need to be objectified also. So when all my attempts to objectification are given up, that is when the knowledge of self can take place. This will be described subsequently in another passage. But the reason why the self is so difficult to know is because there is no knower-known duality. Secondly, it is said, the self transcends all the duality, so all duality has to be dropped. So here we are told that the way to know Atma, way to know the self, is when the self reveals itself. When the self of the Atma makes itself known to me, that is when I know it. That's what this passage says. And as we said in the morning, perhaps that applies to every knowledge also. That when I know an atom, when I know a molecule, when I know anything for that matter, either you can say that I have objectified through my instruments and I know, or you can say that that atom, molecule, the atom, has revealed itself to me. What I am doing through my various instruments of microscope, etc., is to create a condition where my mind is totally focused on what I want to see, and then the atom or any object that I want to know reveals itself in that state of mind. Meaning that we need to acquire a given state of mind wherein what I want to know reveals itself. As we said in the morning, for example, Newton came to know the law of gravity. He perhaps worked on this problem for years together. He must have churned this thing in his mind, focused and totally devoted to that knowing whatever it is. So when he is totally devoted, totally committed, when for him at that moment nothing else is important, we can say that in that state of mind, that law or the object of knowledge reveals itself. So this is a way of looking at things. Whenever any knowledge flashes in my mind, you can say that either I knew it or that thing made itself known to me. Now, here it is knowledge of self. So what we are seeking is that the self itself should make itself known to me. Meaning that I should enjoy the grace of the self, understand? When would something open up to me? When would something reveal itself to me? When it is pleased with me. Then it becomes favorable to me. And then it reveals itself to me. So this rule also has to be applied to the Atma, to the self also. And that is what this passage says. It starts in a negative way. It is well known that Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, this is the traditional or conventional accepted means of knowing the self. Atma varatashtabhya, shrotavya, mantavya, nididhyasitavya, maitreyi. This is what the sage Yajnavalkya says to his wife, Maitreyi, who has now become his disciple. So far he did not tell her all this. When she became a disciple, that is when this is told. Until then he may have said many other things. But this he says when she becomes a disciple. Hey Maitreyi, Atma has to be known. Clearly as you see a flower in your hand, so clearly you have to know the self. How do I know it? Shrotavya. You must listen to the self from the teacher. Mantavya. Having understood from the teacher, reflect upon that, make it knowledge very clear, without any doubts or vagueness. Nididhyasitavya. And then there are habitual errors in our life, because so far I've been taking this body-mind complex as myself. That is called the habitual error. So we need to overcome the habitual error by remaining alert that I am Brahman. That process is called Nididhyasanam. Shrotavya, mantavya, nididhyasitavya. Here the first line says, Atma cannot be known by Shravanam, by Mananam, by Nididhyasanam. Nayamatma pravachanena labhya, na medhaya, na bahuna shrutena. This morning we said, the conventional meaning of pravachanam is repeating what you have studied, repeating the Veda, the Vedic text. Meda means the capacity to retain the meaning of what you are listening to. So then not only should you know the text verbatim, but you should also know the meaning of the text. So that when you are repeating that, then the meaning also flashes in the mind. And na bahuna shrutena. And then maybe you have to assimilate what that mantra or what the teaching is. Very similar to Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam. So says, Nayamatma pravachanena labhya. This Atma cannot be attained by pravachanam, by reciting, by repeating, by Nididhyasanam. Medaya, not by memorizing or not by reflecting, not by mananam. Bahuna shrutena, not by a lot of listening, meaning not by shravanam. The first line seems to negate the well accepted means of knowledge, shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. Is it consoling or not consoling? If it's consoling, then we will stop listening. But then what else do we have? If we cannot know the self by Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, then How else is it to be known? So second line tells us that. Yam eva eshaha vrunute ten labhya. Labhya, he is attained. When he is known, Atma is attained or Atma is known. In case of Atma, the attainment and knowledge are the same thing. You remember the story of the 10th man, right? 10th man is searching for the missing man. And that the 10th man is missing is a notion because he does not count himself. And therefore, he thinks that the 10th man is lost. Whereas who is the 10th man? He himself is the 10th man. Everybody knows the story, right? No? Is there someone who has not heard this story? Okay, everybody. No, the expression of faces as though you're listening the first time. What are you talking about? Never heard of this. So, I don't see any kind of response on the face of people. So I wonder whether have you ever heard of this or not.
Tell the story, Swamiji. No, because we need to have you do it, so, because you refer to it all the time in the books, so we have to go somewhere and find what you said.
Somewhere you have to find it. See, once upon a time in a village, there were a group of children, and among them they thought of going for a picnic, for an outing. In the village, you cannot do anything unless you have the permission of the elders. So these children approached an elderly gentleman, a leader in the village, and sought his permission. Can we go out for picnic, for outing tomorrow? Old man was kind. Says, yes, you can go. One condition is, one of you should take the responsibility of bringing everybody back safely. So one of them volunteered, I will do that. So the old man says, let me find out how many you are, so that you know how many should come back. Please stand in front of me, line up in front of me, so I can count you. They all line up in front of him. He counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 of you. Make sure that you bring all of them back. I will do that. So next day, this is all my addition, by the way, this part. Because otherwise, how does he know that he has to count 10? How does he know how many are there? So because it is demonstrated previous evening how you arrive at the number 10, how old man arrived at the number 10, so we added this portion in there. Next day then, when the children, they went out, and on their way they came across a river. They all crossed the river. Before proceeding further, this boy who had taken the responsibility of bringing everybody back safely decided to make sure that everybody has crossed the river, everybody is here. Says, fellows, before we proceed, let us make sure that all of us have arrived here safely. Now you remember, let me count you. He remembered how the old man had counted. So he did the same thing. Come on, line up in front of me. That's what that person had done. They all line up. Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. See, this is, and then it fits very well, Because how does it occur to him to do this? Because he has seen that person doing it. And then the counting goes on number of times, and then he invites his friend, maybe I am making a mistake, you come forward and count. And this fellow comes forward, and this chap joins a line, he counts. One by one, each one of them count, because all they studied together in the same school, and therefore they counted, arrived at the conclusion that there are 9. Because everyone sees the other fellow counting, so he does the same thing. This chap saw that old man doing it, and other fellows see him, so this is the same thing. And now they are sure that the 10th boy is lost. Now this fellow has taken responsibility of taking everybody back safely. He cannot proceed further, nor can he go back. Says we have to search for him. So they divided into search parties of 3 each. One party on this bank of the river, other bank of the river, in the water. Search for the whole day. Whom did they search for? For the 10th one. So how many 10th men are there? This story you heard, and I've asked this question, so you know the answer. How many 10th men are there? 1, isn't it? Yeah. Which one? Which one is the 10th one? When each one counts, and who becomes the 10th man? Each one becomes the 10th man. So how many 10th men are there? 10, not 1. Isn't it? Therefore, when they are searching for the 10th man, who are they searching for? Their own self. He's already the 10th man. In Vedanta, it's already accomplished. He's trying to accomplish something that already accomplished. He's trying to reach something that already reached. And that cannot be done by any action. Because action always is the means of accomplishing something not accomplished. Action is always a means of achieving something where you are not, producing something which is not there, changing something which is in one form, accomplishing something which is not accomplished. But here is the question, a case of the accomplishment of the already accomplished. So how can, they can never find the 10th man. After searching for the whole day, naturally disappointed and really worried, anxious, sad. Fortunately, another old man happened to pass by, saw these children were very unhappy. He came to them as a very kind person, asked them, why do you look so sad? What's the matter? Then the leader stood up and said, one of us is lost. How many are you? We were 10. How many are you now? We are 9. How do you determine? I counted them. Show me how you counted them. Again he demonstrated. Lined them up. Counted 1 through 9. Old man says, don't worry. I'll tell you where the 10th man is. When he said that, then he in fact inspired confidence in his children that he knows. You have seen him? I have seen him. Where have you seen him? They thought he has seen him someplace elsewhere. So then, count again, with all attention. So now he is counting with Shraddha. Shraddha, now is at least assured the 10th man is there. Some place is there. Counts with all the faith and devotion to the teacher, old person. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So where is the 10th man? With all Shraddha and Bhakti, he asks, where is the 10th man? So now his mind also has the right orientation of understanding the 10th man. If the old person has said earlier, hey, you are the 10th man, perhaps that would not have gone into his head. What do you mean, I am the 10th man? But now he's created a context. Also, an expectancy in the mind of this person that now, oh yes, he will tell me where the 10th man is. In that state of mind is, so you are the 10th man. So he sees, I am the 10th man. In that knowledge of 10th man, what kind of knowledge is it? Does he see that? Yeah, I saw him. Yes. If he sees the 10th man, then he's something else. Is it not so? Yeah, how does he look like? I can describe him, then he's certainly somebody else. He's not 10th man. But in that state of mind now, where he sees, meaning that it is not that knowledge has taken place, really what has happened is now, his notion that the 10th man is lost is gone. When say, you are the 10th man, I am not the 10th man, that notion is removed. He sees himself, this is called aparoksha jnanam, immediate knowledge of the self. There is always a knowledge. He knew himself. How did he know himself? As a ninth man. When this Upadesha is given, then that notion went away, and what was ninth man now reveals himself as the 10th man. You follow? We can say that now his self reveals himself as a 10th man. So this is accomplishment of what is already accomplished. Thus it requires a given this frame of mind, which will be talked about subsequently. But here, the second line of the verse says, Yame Vaishavranut. In our case now, this is the accomplishment of already accomplished. One thing we should understand, that self-knowledge is not knowing something that I do not know. It is not that I do not know the self. I know the self already, except that I have some notion or some complex about the self. That notion that I am so and so, that I am a limited being, that notion has to go. And for that, a certain orientation of mind is required. So, the second line says, Yame Vaishavrunate Tena Labhya Labhya. That's what about all this discussion. Labhya. He used to be at Labhya means, literally it means attained. Love means to gain or attain. By him or by that aspirant, the Atma, the self, is gained. Now, gaining cannot be in the primary sense in case of Atma. Self cannot be gained because it is already gained. Like the 10th man cannot be gained, he is already gained. And still they use some verb or the other. Sometimes he becomes the 10th, becomes Atma. The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman, they say. The knower of Brahman attains Brahman. Brahmaivasan Brahma apyeti, attains Brahman. So Brahma bhavati. So Brahmaiva bhavati becomes Brahma, attains Brahman. Some verb has to be used. Because when the 10th man realized that I am the 10th man, then hey, I got him. No, he say, I got the 10th man. So, because the effect of knowing the 10th man and getting the 10th man is the same. So far I thought that I was lost, I found him. So a lost one is found, whatever kind of effect that would have been, the same effect he had when he realized that I am the 10th man. So I found him, you can say that. But when you use the word found, that means you always find someone different from yourself. No word will work here, you know what I am saying? I found him, I got him. Sometimes a bunch of keys right here with me, in my belt, and I, because of absent-mindedness, I thought that I kept him someplace. I'm searching for this key bunch everywhere. And then the young child comes in, Mom, what are you looking for? Oh, where is my keys? In fact, the keys are making sound, but that, because the mind is already, oriented, is looking for somewhere else, the Mom is right there. Then I got it. So you can say, I got it. You got something that is already gotten, isn't it? And still we use the verb, I got it. Meaning that I have the same feeling as though a lost key bunch was, if I got, I have the same feeling when I realize it is with me because I thought it was lost. So similarly also, labhya. By this person, by this aspirant, the Atma is labhya. The Atma is to be gained. In this case, knowing is gaining. So labhya, that is why Shankaracharya would say, labhya, jnayate vamittetat, jnayate. This Atma is known by this person. By whom? Says, yameva esha vrunute tena labhya. Here, all these are the sarvanama, meaning pronouns are being used here. Yam is a pronoun. Esha, pronoun. Tena, labhya. So what is the translation? Tena labhya, it is attained by him. Yameva vrunute, the one who chooses him, by him it is attained. The one who chooses, by him he is attained. Which one? Chooses whom? What is attained? Therefore, these words lend themselves to different interpretations. And all interpretations are also helpful. But the Vedantic interpretation, Yamev Esha Vrunute Prarthayate, Shankaracharya says, the one who prays Prarthayate, one who prays to the Atma. So Yam Atmanam. Yam means the one whom. So the self. Esha, this one. This one is what? The sadhaka, the aspirant. The aspirant who chooses the Atma. Vrunute chooses. So Vru means to do Varnam, choosing. I think most of you will be familiar with a process that was, in the olden days, a princess, a well-known princess, would choose her, the husband, or whatever you call it, the groom. My word of Swayamvara means that because she is well known and ever, there are many princes around the country who want her hand. So whom shall we choose? So they are all invited. There may be a number of princes from all different countries and places have come. And comes this princess with a garland in her hand. And she has a best friend with her. And this best friend knows each one of these princes. So she describes this one here. He's so and so wonderful and so powerful, and all these qualifications will be described to her. When this description takes place, there's great expectation on the face you can see of that prince. He's expecting what he described and praised, and when his brave face brightens up, and this princess walks ahead. So the light happens, and then again his face becomes dark. The other fellow is brightened up when he's described. And then she will choose one of them. In her mind she may already have chosen, that's very often. The famous Swayamvara. Swayamvara means, Swayam means one's own self. Vara means choosing one's own self. Meaning that women empowerment was so much that everybody just lined up there. And she chose. And the fights also broke out then later on. Because this fellow thought he's the worthy, and another fellow, and they later on, but it doesn't matter, because already the decision is made. But now, when this princess comes here, it's called Varanam, Swayam Vara. Vara also means groom, Varam also is one that is chosen. Swayam Vara, she chooses herself. How many people can she choose? In those days, she can choose how many? One. Even though 100 princes may have come here, and they are all possible, they all have possibility, but then you can choose only one. You cannot choose more than one. And you can choose one when you let go. This fellow also is very, very good. That fellow is very powerful. He's beautiful. He's handsome. He's this and that. But she has to let go of all that stuff. When he chooses one, all others have to be given up. That is called Vairagya. Vairagya means what? That when there is raga or attachment for one, there must also be simultaneously detachment from everybody else. So it's called choosing. Swayamvara, she chooses the groom. The bride chooses the groom. All kinds of things happen in this. So some famous Swayamvaras are described. And one of the Swayamvaras, so sometimes it becomes very tough to determine. But there was one very beautiful princess, her name was Damayanti. Now, already their friends, they already tell them, about all the princes, and there was one of the princes whose name was Nala. And Damayanti had heard about it. In her mind she had already thought of choosing him. But still outwardly, they invited all these followers, and so you make already predetermined stuff. Sometimes they invite the tenders, all right, but the contract is already determined. So you make a show of inviting tenders and that you are objective and transparent, etc. But similarly, in her own mind, she had already decided to choose Nala because she loved him. Even by his own description, she must have seen, somebody must have shown the picture, etc. also, I guess. But then she was so famous and so beautiful that even Devatas wanted to have her hand. So Indra wanted, Agni wanted, and Vayu wanted, all the Devatas wanted her hand. But they knew that she has already chosen Nala in her mind. So what can they do? You know what they did? Each one of them transformed themselves into Nala. Four Devatas and the fifth is real Nala, 5 of them. So there are 5 Nalas in front of her. How will they choose? But her friend is very clever. She says, so which is the real Nala? She said, look, the difference between the human beings and these Devatas or gods is, these gods don't blink. The human being blinks. Of the 5, the one who blinks is real Nala. Those who do not blink are Devatas. That is how she chose her. But you see what commitment is required. And how when you have made a total commitment, everything, nothing else counts. There's nothing else in your mind. Your mind is, this is called devotion, commitment. It is called choosing. So Vrunute, here also Upanishad says, the one who chooses the Atma in this manner. There are many things to be chosen. There are many accomplishments in a life. Like Nachiketa also offers so many things. All the worldly power and fame and wealth and luxuries and everything was offered to him. And also Atma. What did he do? He discarded everything else. And says, Tavaivaha, Tavanrutyagire. Oh Lord Yama, keep all your vehicles and music and everything with you. Tasman Nanyam Nanyat Nachiketa Vrunite. The Nachiketa does not choose anything else. So choosing. So Nachiketa is a brilliant example of what the second line says. Yame Vaisha Vrunate. Esha Sadhaka, this seeker, this aspirant. Yam Atmana Vrunate. The Atma whom he chooses. When you choose the Atma means what? Only desires the Atma and nothing else. He's called Atma Kama. Atma Kama means Atma. Kama means desire. Atma Kama is the one who desires only Atma. Meaning that all the desires which occur in our mind, all of them are transformed into the desire for Atma. Or one recognizes that the desire behind all the desires really is desire for Atma. What I am seeking through, as I discussed in the morning also, that what we are seeking is unconditional happiness, unconditional freedom. We are seeking total freedom from all pain. And therefore, so atyantika dukkha nivrutti. Nivrutti is cessation. Dukkha nivrutti is cessation of pain. Atyantika, once and for all. What I am seeking is cessation of pain or sorrow once and for all. Niritisha sukha avapti. Avapti, attainment of sukha happiness. Niritisha, unsurpassable. Attainment of unsurpassable happiness. So one is to recognize this. That I am looking for something in my life. I am searching for something. There is something that I want, like princess wants. She should know who she is looking for. Otherwise, she will choose anything. Similarly also, the aspirant has his viveka, the discrimination, discernment in life as to what it is that I want. This is the first and the most important thing, is to recognize what it is that I want something in my life. Number one. Swamiji, is there a purpose in life? Certainly there is. How do we say that? Because the desires arise in my mind, one after the other. And desire shows that I am lacking, wanting something. And says, what am I lacking? What am I wanting? What do I desire? How come in spite of fulfilling so many desires, the desires keep on arising? How come the desire never goes away? So when I just inquire, I realize that the true urge in my heart is for unsurpassable happiness, cessation of all the sorrow and attainment of unsurpassable happiness. Next thing is, where is this thing? Where is this thing where there is total freedom from sorrow and where there is nothing but happiness? Nothing but happiness unmixed with sorrow. Where is that? Nowhere else. So all the princes, the whole universe is there for you to choose. There are horses there, elephants there, gold is there, jewelry is there, diamonds are there, children are there, grandchildren are there, kingdom is there, power is there, heaven is there, different kinds of heavens are there. So many things are there. Can anything give me what I am seeking? Or can they even collectively give me what I am seeking? When I realize that what I am seeking is limitless, and everything is limited, however great it is. The universe has many great things, no doubt about that. However great something is, it is still limited. And a limited thing cannot give me limitless. Naste krutah krutena. As Mundakopanishad would say, krutena karmana akrutah nasti. What I am seeking is limitless. Limitless means eternal. Means something that is already there. It is not to be created. And karma or action can create something. So karma cannot give me what I want. It cannot be something to be attained. It must be already attained. Then what separates me? If it's already attained, what separates me? Ignorance separates me. So usually there is a distance always, separation between the seeker and the sought. The separation may be in space, from your home to this place here, separation in space between the seeker and the sought. In time, that this is the fixed deposit and will mature after 10 years or something like that. I have to wait for time until I get that. Or some kind of a adjective or some qualification that I must appear and pass and qualify. MCAT exam, then only I can go to medical school. So some qualification is required, maybe some time is required, a space distance has to be covered. Usually distance between the seeker and the sought is in time, place or in condition. But here there is no such distance. What I am seeking is my own self. And the only thing that separates me is ignorance. So recognition that ignorance is the only problem in my life. There is no problem in my life other than ignorance. You don't know, Swami, what problems there are in life. What do you know? You quietly escape from all the problems. That is called sannyas, escaping. But then, if you look at whatever we call problem, my spouse is a problem, children are the problem, this is a problem, boss is a problem, job is a problem, this is a... And so many problems are there. And there are, you can say so many situations are there. But Swami, this fellow treats me very badly, always humiliates me, my boss always treats me so badly. Humiliates me in front of other people. So being insulted is a problem. Failure is a problem. Insult is a problem. So many problems are there. I feel hurt, Swami. Would you not feel hurt if somebody insults you? You would. Would you not be disappointed if you failed? You would. So then this person asks the question, who has been insulted? So jnane, vadavayam, mane, dainyavayam. There is fear that if there is I am very proud of my knowledge, always a fear that somebody will come and prove me to be wrong, or somebody will be superior in knowledge and I may be, humiliated. But what? Where is knowledge? Knowledge is in intellect. So if my knowledge is proven to be inadequate, somebody proves to me that Swami, you don't know, all right. But I do not know, who does not know? It is in my intellect. Certainly, this knowledge has been shown to be inadequate. What is inadequate? Knowledge. Where is it? Intellect. And therefore, who is in fact hurt? Where the humiliation is, where the defeat is, in intellect. Am I intellect? I can hurt at the physical level, at the emotional level, intellectual level, ego level, but that's not I. What we call problems, in fact, all of them stop. Where do they stop? Only at this costume of body, mind, sense complex. When an actor is playing the role of a beggar, he goes through all kinds of situations where he is insulted, he is humiliated. They all stop where? Only in this costume. He doesn't feel insulted because he is aware of who he is. Meaning that all the so-called problems are nothing but the level of what? Body, mind, sense complex. Who is going to die? The body. Who will be insulted? The ego. Who will have a sense of loss? The one again. That's the mind. So what we call problems are all at the level of the body, anatma, non-self. Nothing, this is like the costume of an actor. So just as in case of an actor, all the situations, the problems only come up to his costume, that all the problems related to the role, and if the actor is aware of his identity, then they don't touch him. So thus we realize that, now, if that actor feels insulted, somebody told him something, he feels insulted, when would that happen? So in this play, there is a scene. This fellow is acting as a beggar. Every day this is happening. He's sitting on this road, sidewalk and he's begging, and somebody comes and throws a coin, somebody does something, and somebody tells him a bad word also. Everyday affair. But today something happened to this fellow. This fellow abused, he just got up and gave him a punch. And the curtain came down. That fellow fell flat because he didn't expect it. This was not a part of the script. So when this fellow got up and punched, who got up? Is the beggar who got up or the actor? When the actor and beggar became one, when this fellow forgot his identity and he thought, I am the beggar for whatever reason. So then all becomes his problem. Then insult becomes whose problem? Actor's problem, if he identifies with his role. So all problems we have in our life are because of identifying with this role, my costume of the body, mind, sense complex. I should realize this. Then what's the problem? Problem is my identification with this is probably ignorance. What's the solution? Knowledge of self is a solution. And there is no other solution also. Meaning that we can never ever become free from the problems of sorrow in life other than gaining the knowledge of self. Yeah, otherwise you can get relief by some treatment here and then some therapy and exercise. You can do everything. Do some pranayama, meditation, this, yoga, whatever you get some relief, nothing. But it can never go. As long as my notion about me does not change, the notion creates all the problem. I retain all the notion in spite of doing all those pranayama, etc. And therefore the fundamental thing doesn't go. So Vedanta teaches that the only solution is in dispelling ignorance by knowledge. Knowledge of what? Knowledge of myself. What is ignorance? All complexes and notions I have about myself. They should go in light of the true knowledge of the self. How does it go? By listening to a teacher who unfolds the nature of the self. That's what the teacher does. He addresses each of the complexes that we have and shows how that complex arises from identifying. So Panchakosha Viveka, identifying with the body or the prana or the mind or the intellect or some other aspect of my personality, the identification creates a given complex. So who is hurt? Husband is hurt. Wife is hurt. Son is hurt. Daughter is hurt. Father is hurt. When you find out who is hurt, who has failed, who is wronged, who is humiliated, answer will be, father is humiliated, engineer is humiliated, manager is humiliated, doctor, somebody or the other. Meaning that all these problems are at the level of the roles only, not the level of self. So I have to know that the true nature of the knowledge of self is the only solution. That's what I want. So then that's how the conviction arises. Yame vaishavrunate. When there is a conviction, all I want is nothing but self-knowledge and nothing else. Choosing the self is a commitment to know the self. That's called the choice of the self. Here choosing is not choosing someone other than myself. Choosing the self is recognizing that what I am seeking is self-knowledge. And that I have to know self is myself. That this, I have to know it as myself. Even when they talk about Brahman and God, we always imagine Brahman or God as something different from myself. And so, Yame Vaishavrunate, I have to know it as my own self. Tena labhya. So thus when there is this determination in my life that all I want is myself, knowledge of this commitment is called bhakti. It's called devotion. When I am devoted to this, when there is a commitment or devotion to the self-knowledge. Devotion means, the commitment means that nothing else has any place in my mind. Nothing else is important. All that is important is self-knowledge. This is called choosing the self. Because self has to be chosen as an object of knowledge. You don't choose anything else. Choosing the self means coming to this conviction that what I am seeking in life and what I want is self-knowledge. To know Brahman is my own self. Yame vaishavrunate tena labhya. Even when I am listening to the Upanishads or Vedanta, reflecting upon them, etc., still, number one, I must become Atma Kamaha, the only Kamana, the desire must be for Atma and there should be no other desire, meaning that my mind is free from all desires and all agenda. There is no agenda other than myself, meaning the self-knowledge. It's called Atma Kama. Atma Kama is the one for whom the Kamana, the desire is for Atma. I am the desirer of the self, meaning that no other desire remains in my mind. If a desire arises, I ask myself, what do I seek to attain through fulfilling this desire? I realize that what I am seeking to attain, to fulfill is really can be fulfilled only by self-knowledge. Yame vaisha vrunute ten labhya. One who chooses the Atma, by that one, the Atma is gained or Atma is known. How is it known? How do you gain the Atma? Second part says, Tasyesh Atma vivrunute tanum swam. Tasya, for that seeker, for that aspirant, who has chosen Atma as the only agenda, Atma becomes favorable to him. Swam tanum vivrunute. He reveals his own tanu. Tanu is body or swarupa. Atma reveals his own swarupa before this aspirant. Meaning that the knowledge takes place when the self becomes favorable to me, when the self reveals himself to me. If you want to know God, God should become favorable to us, He should reveal Himself to us, and that's how the means of creating the situation when they reveal themselves, when they become favorable to us, favorably disposed to us, when they shower the grace upon us, when we attain the krupa or the grace of Atma. It talks about Atma Krupa. Says we must secure the krupa or grace of Atma. Then the grace means becomes favorable. And thus reveals Himself to me. So Lord Krishna says in the 10th chapter of the Gita, describe this Bhakti Yoga. The 10th chapter is a chapter of one of the chapters of Bhakti or the devotion, where Lord Krishna describes His devotees. Mat chitta, mat gata prana, bodhayantah parasparam, kathentasya mam nityam, tushyanti cha ramanti cha. Mat chitta, my devotees are those whose mind is always focused upon me. Mat gata prana, their prana, all the actions are also for my sake. Bodhayantah parasparam, to each other also, I am the subject matter of their discussion or dialogue. Kathentasya mam nityam. If someone comes to them to know, they only talk about me, sing my glories, they teach me. Tesham satat yuktanam, those who are thus totally joined with me, committed to me, focused upon me, centered on me. Rajatam, and why are they worshipping me like this? Priti Purvakam, out of love for me. Through this also they do not expect any reward. They have offered themselves completely to the Lord without any expectation. Then the Lord becomes embarrassed. He is offering all this to me. What? I should do something for Him. He doesn't want anything. He doesn't ask for anything. Then what can I give? I'll give myself to Him. So therefore Lord Krishna says, I give them the knowledge. Tadami buddhi yogam tam. I give them the knowledge by which they know me as their own self. Tesham eva anukampartham. Anukampa. Motivated by anukampa or the pity towards themselves. So pity is not the right word, but concern for themselves, to favor them, to help them. I reveal myself. I am their own self already. I reveal myself as their own self in their heart. I light the lamp of knowledge and dispel the darkness of ignorance. So there Lord Krishna clearly says that I reveal myself to my devotees. So this debate can always go on with bhakti and jnanam. Do I know or do I? So bhakti means what? That He reveals Himself to me. That's what it. Tasya atma virunute tanum swam. This mantra also says that to aspirant like this, who is totally devoted and committed. Yes, not that he is not doing Shravanam, Mananam is going on. That's called bhakti. He is devoted with Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, that's what he does. But all he wants is nothing but the self-knowledge, no other agenda at all. Atma Kama. desires of Atma or self-knowledge. To that one, I reveal myself. I reveal the true nature of myself. So this passage here, the second line, is a seed for Bhakti Yoga. So Upanishad talks about Bhakti. Upanishad don't generally talk about, they think that there is no Bhakti in the Upanishads. But here is a line, and the same mantra is repeated in Kathopanishad. We find in Kathopanishad, in Mundakopanishad, this is Kathopanishad, which says, it is devotion by which I am pleased with my devotees and I fulfill the desire. That desire is, I fulfill whatever they desire, of course. Lord Krishna says, in whichever way approach me, in that manner I bless them. So whatever they want from me, I give them. Not everybody wants Atma Jnana, self-knowledge. Some people there are different kinds of bhaktas. Artho, Jignasur, Artharthi, Jnanicha. There are some devotees who only approach Ishvara, the Lord, when they are in dire difficulty, when find no way out, then they surrender to the Lord. Please help me, save me. Lord says, I save them from that calamity. Then he also forgets and then that's over. Some people approach me to fulfill their desire. I want money, I want this, I want fame, I want that's so that's how they go to Tirupati and put money in the hundi with this sankalpa that I am investing in this business. They say, there's a famous temple in South India of Venkateshwara, it's called Tirupati. There's a hundi. And hundi is like, you have to rise up and then put something in there, a gift or donation. They say whatever sankalpa or whatever you wish at that time, that wish will be fulfilled. So they say. Why do you think so many people go there? Thousands of people go there. He's the richest god in India. But most people always want some comfort, they want some wealth, they want to solve their problems. That's what they want. So okay, take it. It's a rare one who wants moksha. Somebody asked, Lord, why don't you give moksha to everybody? Don't you know that they all need moksha? He may ask for something, but you know what he wants. Like a child may ask for something from the mother, but mother knows what his real need is. Because there is something happening in the stomach and then, so he's crying. So stomach, either there is some problem in the stomach or he's hungry. One of the two. So mother knows what exactly the child needs and gives. Even if child asks for candy, mother doesn't give candy because she knows that there is a problem in the stomach. There is some bacteria there, so she gives some medication. God, you also know what they want. They may ask for something else, but you know what their desire is. They all need moksha. Why don't you give them? He says, even if I give them, there is no value for that. I can give them something which they value. Then only they feel that Lord has actually blessed me. So if they value money, I give them. Whatever the worldly things, that's what I give them. And once I want moksha, then I give moksha also. Who will ask for moksha? Atma Kama. So one who has discerned and thus who has understood this, who has gained that emotion, the maturity, on whom the desire for knowledge has arisen, he alone asks for the knowledge of the self. And Lord says, I oblige him by revealing myself to him. So thus, this mantra talks about bhakti as a means of jnanam. The devotion is the means of knowledge. Here, that's the Vedanta. The Bhakti Acharya will say somewhat differently. Vedanta will say this, that bhakti is a means of knowledge. We'll explore a couple of other things tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Bhadarayanam Sutra Bhashyakritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah.
ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरि ओम। श्री